monsieur le Bouvier! Voici!
Qu'est-ce que c'est?
Je pense que je l'ai trouvé.
Que voyez-vous?
No, they didn't find anything in here. The archaeologists who accompanied Napoleon in 1798, or the Italian chaplain André Thevet, who entered the Great Pyramid in 1549, or the French explorer Pierre Bellon, who did so 2 years before that, or the Muslim caliph who sent his diggers all through the pyramid looking for the legendary treasures of the pharaohs, all came out empty-handed. Of all the tantalizing mysteries associated with the Great Pyramid, the failure to uncover any substantial evidence of its builder is perhaps the greatest mystery of all. We know this was Khufu's pyramid primarily because workmen painted the king's name in the ceiling structure of the burial chamber. The pyramid temple, which would have clearly established the name of the monarch, was totally destroyed. One of the many mysteries of the Great Pyramid is this incredible grand gallery deep in the heart of the pyramid which leads up to the burial chamber. Our story offers a possible explanation. No other pyramid contains a burial chamber so high up in the structure itself, and no other has such an impressive way of getting there. We have the pyramid itself and nothing else. A situation tomb explorers found over and over again. Which is what makes this particular tomb in the Valley of the Kings so extraordinary. This is the tomb of King Tutankhamun, a monarch of the New Kingdom's 18th dynasty, who probably died before the age of 21. Though he might have had a relatively small impact while alive, his significance in death was enormous. Of all the tombs of the Egyptian kings, Tutankhamun's was the only one to survive intact. And that was only because it was completely covered by rubble and debris from a later, larger tomb. It was discovered in 1921 by the English archaeologist Howard Carter, working under the backing of his patron, Lord Carnarvon. The treasures they found in just these few small underground rooms take up an entire wing of the Egyptian Museum. The mummy itself remains here in the burial chamber, its eternal home, in one of its 3 golden coffins. The Valley of the Kings became the final resting place of Egyptian monarchs following the decline of the pyramids. We don't know for sure why they stopped building pyramids. Probably their tremendous cost and their inability to keep out tomb robbers had a lot to do with it. But even here, it's clear that the old shape remained sacred. High above the Valley of the Kings, a natural pyramid formation etches the sky. It wasn't an abrupt transition from the pyramids of Giza to the valleys near Luxor. While it all may be ancient Egypt to most of us, 15 centuries separate Khufu and Tutankhamun. And for a good deal longer than that, very little was known about this fascinating culture. One reason being that much of its remains were covered over by the desert sands. The second reason little was known or understood about ancient Egyptian civilization is that it had no way of communicating its secrets with us. Hieroglyphic writing was nothing more than a series of interesting but obscure pictures. Well, that all changed in 1799 with that same Napoleonic expedition that entered the Great Pyramid. This is a replica of a chunk of black basalt unearthed by one of Napoleon's soldiers in the delta town of Rosetta. It is inscribed in 3 alphabets: Ancient Greek, Demotic, a script used in Egypt at the time of the Greeks, and the even older hieroglyphics. For more than a decade, many people tried to match up the words among the 3 texts, but with little success. Then in 1822, a Frenchman named Jean-François Champollion cracked the puzzle, and the language of the ancients came alive. The most important clue came in the matching up of royal names, which are spelled out phonetically in the hieroglyphics. The royal names are encircled by oblong rings known as cartouches. Here, for instance, is the name Ptolemy in hieroglyphic, Demotic, and Greek. All the gold of Tutankhamun almost pales in comparison to the value of this intellectual discovery. One of the reasons we have such a rich legacy of artifacts and information, much of it about everyday life, is that so much of it was included in the tombs for use in the next world. This was one society that clearly believed you could take it with you. Here, a wealthy cattle dealer wanted to take his business with him, and so he did, in the form of this model. He even has several accountants there to make sure he isn't being shortchanged. Another person took his grain business with him, and another was evidently fond of sailing, while someone else had more use for heavy manpower. And keep in mind, these weren't merely representations or reminders to the ancient Egyptian. Models, wall paintings, even writings had the same practical and effective value in the afterlife as the real objects also taken along. So we have some answers to what this civilization of so long ago was actually like. And the search for more of them continues, as it has in earnest now for almost 200 years. Like Howard Carter and Jean-François Champollion, modern archaeologists and scholars from Egypt and around the world are still searching for clues to those elusive mysteries, which may lie just below the surface of the desert sand, or may remain as inscrutable as the Great Sphinx, the protector of so many tantalizing secrets over the ages. The Sphinx is part of the second pyramid complex here at Giza, which, despite the way things were going in our story, does not belong to Djedefre. He is thought to have been entombed about 5 miles to the north at Abu Rawash. Almost nothing of his pyramid remains, and it is doubtful it could have been completed in the scant 4 years of his unremarkable reign. It took a far stronger, more powerful, and long-lived monarch to build the second of these 3 mammoth structures, to inspire, challenge, and fascinate forever.
Mother, will I become Horus one day too?
I do not think so, Khafra. Your brother Kawab is first in line to be king, but I am sure your future will also be great.
Yes, I think it will be.
One will rule a brief time only. He will be reviled in his own time and defamed when he is gone. The other will be strong and brave. He will rule for many years, and Egypt will grow even greater under him. He will do you honor and guard your sacred house of eternity. And his proud face will be known until the end of time.
Major funding for this program has been provided by the National Endowment for the Humanities. Additional funding has been provided by the Arthur Vining Davis Foundations, the Corporation for Public Broadcasting, public television stations, the American Architectural Foundation of the American Institute of Architects, and the National Concrete Masonry Association.